A hush falls over Lafayette Square. A roar begins behind the walls. It is October 2025, and part of the most iconic address in America is being torn apart. This is not a war. This is not a protest. It is the demolition of the White House's East Wing, a transformation so bold, so controversial, it is already reshaping debates about heritage, power, and the meaning of the people's house. Today's story is not about the long arc of history. It is about the moment. What is being lost? What is being built? Who decides? The spark for all this was lit on July 31st, 2025, when the White House quietly released new renderings, a 90,000 SQFT ballroom, to occupy land adjacent to, or as they claimed, over the East Wing. This would be the largest structural addition to the presidential complex in a century. White House spokesperson measured, firm. This new ballroom will not interfere with the existing White House structure. Nothing will be torn down. We respect the historic building. This is simply an expansion to accommodate grand events the East Room cannot. The promise echoed in press briefings, near but not touching. We will preserve the fabric. But seen through the shadow of hindsight, those assurances would soon unravel. Promises like that in major construction projects often signal the beginning of overextension. If you ask, will you tear down? The answer is always no, until the diggers arrive. October 20th, 2025. Trucks and cranes roll in. The first blasts of shrapnel hum against stone. One by one, the facade panels peel away. Windows shatter. The front of the East Wing yields to heavy machinery. On-site worker, foreman, gruff, ambient. Clear that wall. Break that lintel. Watch your footing wires and piping behind the plaster. The demolition crews targeted the facade first, but the damage was not superficial. Over the following days, much of the East Wing followed. Photo leaks showed jagged edges, gaping walls, interior rooms exposed to open air. Historian, preservationist, somber. If you rip out the walls, you dismantle stories. These corridors, once silent with decades of social memory, are gone maybe forever. As the hammers fell, so did credibility. The White House's earlier statements were undercut. Demolition was already underway. White House spokesperson, urgent. We will submit floor plans and structural designs to the National Capital Planning Commission for review. This is standard protocol. Yet critics noted the demolition had begun before plans were accepted. Fence lines closed off public view. Employees in nearby buildings were told not to photograph the work. As the wrecking ball swung, dissent rose. In Washington's halls and in public fora, voices clamored. This is the people's house, not a private trophy. We are not opposed to modernization, but not at the expense of erasing the past. Architect and planner said, large-scale additions to historic structures always carry tension. The key is integration and sensitivity. Here, the scale threatens to overpower. The ballroom is projected to dwarf the original building. And then there are finances and influence. Corporate donors, private funding. What interests are being served? Critical organizations like the National Trust for Historic Preservation warned, the 90,000 square fit ballroom will overwhelm the White House itself. Congressional critics demanded pauses, hearings, transparency. Yet the White House dismissed much of the resistance as manufactured outrage, framing critics as obstructionists to progress. One of the most striking claims: the White House is exempt from certain historic preservation rules. Under the National Historic Preservation Act, Section 106, federal projects often require review, but the White House is said to lie outside some of those constraints. Architectus-planner said, oversight bodies like the National Capital Planning Commission, NCPC, and Commission of Fine Arts can advise, but they cannot halt demolition. Only review later construction. In fact, Will Scharf, the Trump-appointed NCPC chair, publicly asserted demolition may begin without his commission's pre-approval, since only the vertical build is under their oversight. That breaks from traditional practice. Historically, Major White House additions underwent extended consultation. When you sidestep review, you lose public accountability. The public loses its chance to see and contest designs before irreversible change. Yet the administration argues urgency, modernization, security, event capacity. The momentum is in their favor. Let's talk scale. The new ballroom is slated for 90,000 square feet nearly, double the size of the main executive residence. 55,000 gift. It is expected to host up to 999 guests, more than quadruple the seating capacity of the old East Room, 200. Fast Company and other design outlets note, the original public claims that nothing would be torn down were quickly revised. White House renderings suggest a stately gilded space, echoing Trump's aesthetic preferences, coffered ceilings, large windows to be bulletproof, classical motifs. Funding is to be privately sourced from generous patriots and corporations. The White House insists no taxpayer dollars will be used. One notable contribution, $22 million from YouTube, a Google subsidiary, from a settlement tied to earlier litigation. Private funding does not guarantee independence from influence. Donor priorities may bias access or design. The build is being handled by established firms, e.g. Clark Construction, McCreary Architects, though formal approval is still pending. If completed, the ballroom will likely shape every future state dinner, gala, and diplomatic reception, and perhaps redefine the architecture of power. As walls fall, voices rise, journalists, citizens, architects, activists. Social media is ablaze with images of collapsing walls, shocked commentary, memes. Audience and public interjection. Are they destroying our history for a vanity project? Why weren't we shown the plans first? This is the most powerful house in the land. We deserve a say. Historian, preservationist. Loss is irreversible. Even if parts are rebuilt, the aura of age, the worn corners, the patina gone. White House spokesperson, defensive but hopeful. We are advancing gracefully. This project is about elevating the capability of the White House to host global diplomacy, cultural life, and national prestige. The question that lingers, when the dust clears, will what remains still feel like ours? Or will it feel like an edifice built by and for a different order?